Hi, and welcome everybody to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel, our live version of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. We do every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's exactly what day it is and what time it is. And like every Friday, I am joined by my highly esteemed guests, Mr. Jesse Schule and Mr. Sean Higgs, all three of us, and I'm Ross Benjamin, by the way, all three of us from our sponsor site, which is gamblersworld.net. And folks, at gamblersworld.net, you will not only find us three, but 7 other of the finest handicappers you'll find anywhere on the planet. And we give you our personal guarantee there. If you do not win, you do not make a profit on any single game, multi-game daily package, or any subscription plan of 30 days or fewer, we will credit your account back the exact amount that you paid for that specific purchase. So again, that's gamblersworld.net. Gentlemen, Jesse, how are you?
Doing pretty well, Ross. I had a bit of a rough patch after the Super Bowl. I kind of took it easy and only released a couple games a day, and went a few losers in a row. But yesterday, winning day, and it's been a great year and a great month. And I was just, as you were introducing me, I was looking at gamblersworld.net, and I can see that I am number 1 overall in the leaderboards for the last 30 days with all sports, and number 1 overall the last 30 days with college basketball. And given that you've got an all-star roster over there, Ross, I should be pretty proud of that.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely.
And I am. And I'd like to give Kyle Hunter a shout out. Kyle Hunter, one of our colleagues, tweeted out that I was a great college basketball follow. I appreciate the promotion from Kyle Hunter. And of course, he's one of the great college basketball handicappers himself.
Yeah, of all time, so and Jesse as well. Jesse, if you go back 10 years, folks, and he could document his record, he's up there in terms of money earned and win percentage over the last 10 years as documented by an independent site. Kyle Hunter, by the way, 13-3 over the last 7 days. He's now number 1 at our site since its inception. I'm number 2. Jesse's number 3. But this guy here, Sean Higgs, he had a pretty good football season, and buyer beware, because right now he's treading a little bit of water in college basketball, but he's notorious for going on a long winning run during this time of year. Sean, how are you, my man?
Pretty good, yeah. So, February, the last 10 days have not been kind to me. 500, 41 and 42. But since January 1st in the conference play, 137, 139, it's 54%. And with my amount of games, I'll weather a little 500 right now, because I know I'm that close, because we've talked about before, like a couple half points here and there. They add up. But I feel good coming into the weekend. Have a nice card tomorrow, college basketball, NBA All-Star break, which is always a welcome. Now NBA can take a little bit more seriously now. Now guys maybe, not as many load management type, take a rest day because it's playoff time. Start playing for positions and stats a little like get into NBA a little more now than later.
Yeah, I learned my lesson, Sean. Stayed away from the NBA because the last couple of years I've took a hurting leading up to the All-Star break. For whatever reason, it becomes a little more unpredictable, for me anyway, with the NBA just before the All-Star break. So, yeah, your point's well taken. I just want to remind everybody, if you go to gamblersworld.net right now, we talked about all our college basketball handicapping prowess here on our site and our channel. Right now, we're running a Friday flash sale, today only. The entire NCAA basketball season right through the NCAA tournament championship game. It includes the NIT, all the other postseason tournaments, conference tournaments, et cetera, and of course the rest of the regular season. Any handicapper right now, just $2.99 for that. Ooh, I almost lost my light, folks. Anyway, I agree. That would have been a catastrophe. Anyway, there you have it. And you can find me at gamblersworld.net as well. Number 2 over the last 7 days to Kyle Hunter, and number 2 overall at the site since its inception. Had a terrible month of January, but I'm picking up steam now, having gone 17-10 with my college basketball picks over the last 11 days. College basketball totals continue to do very well, folks. 2-0 again last night with my college basketball totals. That makes me 9-2 with my last 11 college basketball totals, and even more impressive, 65 and 30. Let me see. Let me give you the exact amount here so I'm not misquoting anybody and I get called on it, because we know everybody hinges on every word we say here. 9-2 with my last 11 in college basketball totals, and 68 and 35 with my last 103 college basketball totals. So there you have it. And folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take a second to do so. You'll see a subscribe button right underneath. It's a black subscribe button. Just click on that. You also see a WC logo in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you're watching on your PC, click on that as well. That'll get you subscribed to our channel, which is absolutely free. No strings attached, no hidden agenda, folks. You're privy to some of the best sports handicappers on the planet today on this channel, and including us three, Doug Upstone as well from DocSports.com, and various other handicappers we'll have on right here on our channel. So in any event, and take one step further, please. Go into your YouTube settings. This is if you have subscribed already, or if you're new, and click on the alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our 5 to 6 podcasts going up on our great channel. There you have it. All right, let's get the meat and potatoes. We're discussing college basketball today. Now, we see there's a lot of questions and comments already, so bear with us a little bit, folks. We'll get right to you, and we'll do our best to answer each and every one of you. So we encourage you. You have comments about anything in the world of sports betting right now, anything in the world of sports, or you have any questions, feel free to ask. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and we'll get to each and every one of you. All right, so college basketball, we're talking Saturday games, folks. And the reason why is the Friday cards are very short, and we're going to be using some estimated lines according to KenPom, because we're recording. It's a little after 1 in the afternoon Eastern time here on Friday. And as you well know, college basketball lines usually, for the most part, don't come out till anywhere between 4 and 6 p.m. Eastern time. But KenPom we found to be pretty accurate, and we're going to give you our lines according to KenPom. We're also going to give you our picks and give you a parameter to work with in terms of who we like and what parameter we like that within. So let's get right to it. Jesse, Kentucky and Auburn, 6 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon, depending on what coast you're on. And right now, KenPom has a projected line of Auburn -10, 164. Boy, the Auburn Tigers have been awfully good at home this year. We mentioned it earlier this week, and lo and behold, they did it again earlier this week at home. But it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what you think, Jesse.
Well, before I get into the pick, Ross, let me just say that I'm pretty excited about the next few weeks and the next month and a half. I don't know about you guys, but this time of year for me is the best time of year as a sports gambler. The Super Bowl just passed, and the NFL season's over. And I know a lot of people focus on football, and as much success as I've had with football, this time of year, you got the NBA, the games become more meaningful. College basketball, the conference tournaments are right around the corner. We're in the heart of conference play. And the NHL, it's the same thing. You got these teams jockeying for playoff spots. For me, I've had so much success at this time of year because all these games are so much more meaningful. And I just think we should all be quite excited about that. And with that, I will get into this game. Of course, I talked about South Carolina and Auburn on the Wednesday show, and I gave a pretty in-depth, detailed analysis. I did a deep dive into it, but I was a little bit off on my prediction. I was making a case for South Carolina to compete with Auburn based on their defensive prowess. Well, Kentucky doesn't have any defensive prowess. They're one of the worst defensive teams in the country. but both these teams score a lot of points. And when you look at pace of play, Kentucky ranks 6th nationally, averaging 77.1 possessions per game. They like to run. Auburn scores a ton of points at home. Auburn is a monster at home. And I must say, even though I was picking South Carolina on Wednesday, I was acknowledging that there was a good chance South Carolina was going to prove to be too much for them. And I think there's a good chance, Auburn was going to prove to be too much for them. I think there's a good chance that Auburn runs away with this game, but I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. The projected number from KenPom, 164, looks sky high, but Kentucky's averaging 88.9 points per game. Auburn's averaging 83.1 points per game. And this is a case where you have a willing dance partner. We talk about pace of play and averages. A lot of times it's a pace war. You have a defensive-minded team going up against a team that wants to run. In a case where you have two teams that are content to play at a certain pace, often we see high scores, and I think we're going to see a high score here. And for that reason, my lean would be over 164, and that's based on the projected line from KenPom. I would also look at potential team total over for Kentucky in the mid to high 70s range, 76, 77-ish points. And yeah, I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it'll be similar to the Alabama game, 99-81. Auburn won that game. I mean, this looks like a similar spot for Auburn and Kentucky. So I think it finishes around there.
All right. So this is a projected total of 164, Jesse. And again, we're doing this based on KenPom. We're not looking at the official odds at any of the major sports books in the United States. You like the over. Obviously, you would like it at 164, even though it's that high. What would be the cutoff point for you in terms of suggesting how high you'd be willing to go on going over the total in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I to be honest, Ross, I wouldn't go. I'm looking at that number and thinking that's really high, and it's high for a reason. So I don't want to go much higher than that. I mean, I would even go 165.5, and if it gets that high, give me Kentucky's team total instead. And I'm also presuming that when KenPom puts out this projected line, they're putting it out sky high for a reason. I'm not expecting it to go. It's hard to bet on totals that high and push them up too much higher. So yeah, I would say the cutoff for me is 165.5.
All right, so Jesse's saying go over the total, which right now the projected total is 164. He's saying don't go any higher than 165.5 on the over in this game. Obviously, 165.5 or lower is his play. And if it goes beyond 165.5, he's telling you that he likes Kentucky's team total over 75 to like 77. Okay, so there you have it from Mr. Schule. You make a good case, Jesse. Look at both of these teams rank amongst the best in the country when it comes to adjusted offensive efficiency. Kentucky is number 7, and Auburn number 9 in that regard in terms of offensive efficiency nationally, not just within the conference, nationally. Also, you're looking at a Kentucky team that's number 12 nationally in adjusted offensive tempo, averaging 72.5 offensive possessions per 40 minutes. And Auburn's not quite as fast, but they're up there, number 66, which is in the top 20% of college basketball at 70 per 40 minutes. So, Sean, what's your take here?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with the total Jesse's thought here. Let's be honest, this would probably open like a 162.5 or so. But you look at Kentucky, I mean, 89-85 Gonzaga, 103-92 Tennessee, 94-91 Florida, 92-90, 97-92 A&M, 105-96 Georgia. Yeah, Auburn's going to score a bunch of points here. They're going to score points, and I'd lay the 10. And I thought Kentucky was going to kind of turn on and be a team to bet on as the season progressed. I I don't know. I'm a little down on them. I can't. They lost to Gonzaga, which I think Gonzaga's not a vintage as good as they've been in the last decade kind of squad here. But give me Auburn and the over. I'll probably be playing them myself.
Yeah, Auburn -10 is the projected line.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind, and Sean brought this up, Jesse as well, earlier this week when we discussed Auburn and South Carolina. Auburn 13-0 at home now. They haven't had a home win less than 11 points. So all 13 of their wins have come by 11 or more. And yeah, that Kentucky loss to Gonzaga, that came on Kentucky's home floor. So it's not like they traveled across the country to lose that game, right, Sean?
Yeah, I had them. I thought that was a good spot from at home. That would have been a nice win. Did not get there. And again, the points, 89 at home. They give up points. Like they don't. In Auburn, they'll gladly. You want to play that game? Sure, we'll play that game. No problem.
Yeah. They can adapt awfully quick. They have the personnel to adapt to play any which way you would like, and it's not going to affect their quality of performance.
Because that's like more of an Alabama pace, and that game was 99-81.
Yeah.
So that's where I want to say they don't have to go light, like a 75-70 game. If Kentucky's going on press it, they'll run the court and they will score.
Yeah, I'd like Jesse's over pick, even though this total is so high, but everything adds up to that, and it would take an awful shooting performance from one of these teams to not at least approach that number or go over it. So good stuff, Jesse, and good stuff, Sean, on your commentary as well. All right, let's get to your game, Sean, and that's the game between the Marquette Golden Eagles, and they travel to Storrs, Connecticut to take on the Connecticut Huskies. 3 p.m. Eastern time start. I think they're going to Storrs, or is it being played in Hartford? I'm not sure. Anyway, UConn is a 7-point favorite, and the total is 147. In any event, it's a UConn home game, and that's a projected line. UConn -7, 147. I don't know. Marquette's looked awfully good of late, but this projected line reeks to me of being heavy and begging you to take the underdog in this spot. Sean, what's your take?
Yeah, was that the? I thought that was an official FanDuel line. No, that was the KP line.
Oh, excuse me. That's actually from DraftKings.
FanDuel.
Yeah.
You got to love FanDuel. They want to try to get out there early on some of these games. Yep. You got two hot teams here. Kentucky's, what are they, 23-2? They won, 10, 11 in a row? Playing really well. Marquette's won 8 in a row.
UConn, not Kentucky.
Oh, excuse me. What did I say? You know what? Because I still got the Kentucky screen up. That's why.
Yeah.
We're just talking about those terrible cats. We're talking about Huskies now. Forget about cats.
Yes.
I'm a little torn on this thing. I like the over. We talked about taking the over. I said I like the over here. I want, like you just said, a line like this. And again, we're a day out, and I kind of generally just kind of circle kind of games I'm looking at. I see a line like this. This is just like Auburn laying the 12 to a ranked South Carolina team. Auburn laying double digits to a team, again, in the top 25. You have a Marquette team that's beat some pretty good teams this year. It's not some joke kind of squad. Last year, were they 30-4? And yet we're laying a touchdown here. I don't get it. As much as I'm a dog guy, spots like this, you know where I'm going, Russ. I'm going to say, think like the old bookmaker here. Why is the line so high?
Yep.
And honestly, if this is more, I won't be shocked if this is more of like a 5.5 for when things come out later on this afternoon, tonight. It'll be a little lower, which would be more in line of what I think it would be. I got this probably about a 5 spot myself. Where's my little sheet? It's on one of them here. 5.5. That's what I thought it would be. It's a little higher. Do I really want to lay that higher number? Not particularly, but if it's a 5.5 range, I think they win by 10 points. So even at this, I'm going to lean Connecticut, but I'm going to say take the over here because we have, I think, I hate to say, like a Final Four kind of preview, but these two teams, definitely Big East champion, probably going to be one of these two teams unless Creighton gets really hot and runs it. I think we see points. I don't think it's an ugly defensive battle. I think we're going to come out and play our A game kind of basketball here. So I'll go over. Even if it's a high number in the 145 range, I'm still going to go over to 145, 46, 47.
Yeah, and I don't blame you. I mean, again, you look at KenPom and their adjusted offensive efficiency, Marquette number 23 nationally and UConn number 3. Also, you got two teams that play. Well, Connecticut really doesn't like to push the tempo. They're a slow down type of team. They're very particular. They work the shot clock and they go for a quality opportunity. But that's not the case with Marquette in Big East play. They're number 2 when it comes to adjusted offensive efficiency and number 1 in terms of average offensive time of possession at 15 seconds per possession. So that's pretty quick. Marquette, Jesse, 8-game winning streak, 75 points or more scored throughout all those wins. Connecticut red hot right now as well. But your take, Jesse?
Yeah, I gave out Marquette on the show earlier in the week on the road at Butler. I like this Marquette team, but I agree with Sean. This looks like a spot where you want to take UConn at home. Of all the insightful things that Sean said about the game, I think the most insightful was that he's expecting it to open at 5.5. He thinks 7's a little bit high on the projection side. And I would tend to agree with him at 5.5. It's a play on UConn for me. At 7, it's a pass. I'm not going to lay 7 in this game, but I would be tempted to lay 5.5. So that's where I stand on this one.
Yeah, I'm one of those contrarian guys, Jesse. So, I would think that to me, if it's 7 or even at 5.5, we're going to get a good share of public action, even if it's 50-50 to go to Marquette, is it look a very enticing and alluring dog. So I'm going to have a small lean at this particular juncture in time on UConn. So I'm going to agree with Sean, especially if Sean's correct about the 5 to 5.5, which is not out of the realm of possibility, because again, we're giving you a projected line. Also, we're giving you an early line that's been released by DraftKings, and that's without any public action coming into play or anybody else posting the line. But you know what? It seems fairly accurate because KenPom has it right at 7 as well. All right, let me get to my game, and then we'll get your questions and comments. Kansas and Oklahoma. KenPom has this game as Oklahoma is a 1-point favorite and 143. I'm not crazy about Oklahoma, guys. I got to be honest with you. They're a good team, but they're not a great team. They're a little bit been erratic during Big 12 play. But here's the thing: I can't pull the trigger on a Kansas team that's gone 0-4 straight up in ATS in their last 4 on the road. And if you were with us earlier this week, I had Texas Tech as a free pick against them on Monday with Doug Upstone, and they got blown out in that game, 79-50. So in conference away games, they're just 1-5 straight up in ATS, meaning Kansas. Their only win came against Oklahoma State, who's terrible. They're Oklahoma State 10-14 overall and 2-9 in Big 12 play. So nothing to hang your hat on there in terms or put a feather in your cap for beating Oklahoma State on the road. And Oklahoma will also be playing with revenge from a 78-66 loss at Kansas on January 13th. The difference in that contest, Kansas went 17 out of 18 from the free throw line and only turned the ball over 2 times. I would think that on the road, they're not going to only turn the ball over 2 times. They'll be more in the 9 to 10 turnover range, possibly more. And Oklahoma is 11-2 at home. They did lose to Texas Tech by 1. And they had a real head scratcher where they lost to Texas at home by 15. But they got quality home wins this year against number 10 Iowa State and number 19 BYU. And Kansas is 5-0 straight up off a loss this year, but none of those games were true road contests. So again, I'm going to have. Here's what I would suggest, folks. I've gone 6-1 now with my last 7 college football free picks since start of last week. I lost yesterday. I had Rutgers minus 4.5. They won by 3. And I told you why I didn't use it as a premium play, because I liked it at 2, and then I went up to 4.5 and I lost all its value. And it sounded prophetic, but I still lost. But I'm going to go for another winner here today, make it 7-1. But I would suggest if you can get Oklahoma as either a money line favorite of 125 or less, or if they're a pick 'em or an underdog, I'm all over the Sooners in this spot. Jesse?
Yeah, I agree with you, Ross. One of the factors is Kansas's leading scorer, Kevin McCullough. He's missed the last couple games or missed a game. He's been banged up. I was reading the local Kansas newspapers and quotes from the coach, Bill Self, that he's expected to give it a go. We're not sure how much time he'll get. It didn't sound good. It sounded like he's got a good chance to play, but not a strong chance that he's going to be 100% and play 25 plus minutes. They're looking to sort of ease him back into action.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, they were losing road games with him in the lineup, 100% healthy. As much as Oklahoma looks like the perhaps overrated team, still a home game in the Big 12. They're still a very competitive team, and Kansas has lost its way. That's been pretty obvious so far this season. No way I want anything to do with Kansas on the road with McCullough or without him. So I will take Oklahoma as well.
You know, Jesse, you're a big hockey guy, and being from Western Canada and also as a hockey handicapper. And me being from Western New York, big follower of the Buffalo Sabres here. And there used to be a guy that played for Buffalo. His name is Lindy Ruff. He's now the head coach of the New Jersey Devils. And when he played for Buffalo, and he played many years here in Buffalo, there was the saying that went around Western New York, because you look at his penalty minutes and his style of play at home, where he was very aggressive, dropped the gloves a lot of times, and then on the road, he was a lamb. And we used to say he's rough at home and Lindy on the road. And that's exactly what Kansas reminds me of right now. Sean, your take on this game?
Yeah, I mean, come on, Kansas 2-5 on the road. I don't want to. Yeah, are they the better team? Sure, they're the better team. Better coach? Absolutely. I'm not running to bet them. I don't. You know me. I'm if it loses with Oklahoma, that's fine. I'll go back to the well. Same thing I had Texas Tech. I'm on day with you in the same spot. Like, oh, you gotta look at this short line. What's wrong with this? No, it's not. All the time with these games with me, Ross. I take them every single day, 7 days a week. It looks bad. You're taking the worst team and they're favored. Why is that line that way? More often than not, I'm going to win. I will grind these out 100% of the time.
Absolutely. So there you have it. You have our official picks.
You know what it is, Ross? We
Yep.
we got to think way too much. Games like this where I don't have to think, and I know I'm going to win 54 or 55% of the time over 90 games like this. I'm going to take them every time. I don't care if it loses one. That's fine. I'll have 6 games like this today. I'll go 4-2 and be happy on a Saturday.
You know, you're right, Sean. I won the football wise guy contest at Playbook Sports this year, and we had to have our picks in by Tuesday. And it was like most of the time I'm like taking a look and just going with my gut and what line doesn't seem right or whatever the case may be. And the proof was in the pudding.
Yes.
We have a tendency to overthink things sometime. And it's not keeping it simple, but don't make it too complex at the same time. So it's a balance that's really, really hard at times.
It's like when you're a kid, your first instinct to do something, whether it's usually the right instinct. That's the right thing to do. You're just usually going at it's there for a reason. It's in you. Just follow it. You're going to be right. It'll work out more often than not.
All right. So
there's a book by a New York Times bestseller author, Malcolm Gladwell. I think it's called Blink or something like that. And it suggests that anybody who's an expert in their field with over 10,000 hours dedicated to their craft should be capable of making a split decision just like that, and that will be the correct decision. It's a very famous book for those of us who can read more than the comics section in the back of the newspaper.
I would guess that all three of us are a lock at over 10,000 hours since we started.
That is a whale goat play right there, that we have 10,000 hours.
So our free picks for Saturday in college basketball, that's Saturday, February the 17th. I like Oklahoma over Kansas. Jesse likes the Auburn and Kentucky game to go over the total. He's saying anything 165.5 or below. He loves the over. And if If it goes beyond 165.5, Jesse would suggest taking Kentucky. Team total of over 75 to 77 points in that area. Sean likes UConn here, and against Marquette. I believe UConn you took, right, Sean? If I'm not mistaken.
I want the 5.5. I'm gonna go over the total though for the show because it's not close to a 5.5 right now. So
the line over at DraftKings right now is 147.5. So he likes the over 147. And again, if it's in the 5 to 5.5 point range, Sean likes UConn, but that's yet to be seen because right now KenPom has it at 7. And so does DraftKings. So we'll see what develops there. So there you go, folks. Keep in mind, we're making these picks well in advance and before the major sports books as a whole come out with any lines on the board. All right, let's get to our favorite part is taking your questions and reading your comments. And let's start with our favorite guy, Ninja.
Mr. Overrated Purdue's in the house.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was thinking of you yesterday, Ninja, when I was watching that Purdue game against Minnesota, because Minnesota had them on the ropes for, much of that game, and they let them off the hook. And that 10-point difference that Purdue won by was awful deceiving because that was a lot closer than that final score. Minnesota was a 16.5-point dog in that game. I did have the over as one of my premium picks at gamblersworld.net. So if you paid for that or you had a subscription with me, you profited from that. Any other further comments about Purdue before we move on to the next question? All right.
I had Purdue in the. I had Purdue in the midday money because Minnesota. They're like 20-3 against the spread.
Yeah, they're 21-3 now. So Anthony Grubb, good day, gentlemen. Anthony, thank you for joining us. I believe you're a first-time viewer or commenter,
and that's not me with the goatee, by the way, everybody. So,
all right, so let's go to Lauren. How you doing, Lauren? Glad you could join us today. Hello, guys. Took the day off work to watch live. All right. Well, Jesse,
we should get that comment framed, I think.
Yeah. Well, Jesse will send. He's sending all checks out to anybody who takes a day off to watch the show. All right. So just send your invoices to Jesse Schule or at Twitter at Jesse Schule. There you go. So, Chris Higgs, we need you to come back and do more videos.
I know, yeah. Well, I got some guys. I was like, I got to go and do my show with Ross and Jesse live, and they're like, what live show? What is this about? I'm like,
Thanks for joining us, Chris. And so, Sean's well in demand, and rightfully so. Does a great job on our show, and he does a great job on all his other ventures, his own show as well. Pounded Sports, Manhattan, Iona over 146.5. Top play, Fairfield -3.5 in the first half, and Marist -4.5. For me anyway, the most unpredictable conference for me in the country has always been the Metro Athletic Association Conference, MAAC. And I stay away from those games. So I can tell you, Pound It, I wish you the best of luck. Gentlemen, do you have any insight as to anything in the 3 games he just mentioned?
I used to like playing the AA MAC myself. I used to be big into betting on Siena and Canisius, but I agree with you, Ross. The last few years, it's been a crapshoot, and I don't want to have anything to do with the AA MAC anymore.
Jesse, I got corrected yesterday again with the Xavier. I called him Xavier.
Yes, and I'm from the west side. I'm from the west side.
And the gentleman said all the every Catholic priest at Xavier is now rolling their eyebrows with your pronunciation. And I would tell you the same thing goes for Canisius, which is a Catholic school in Buffalo. It's Canisius, not Canisius. All right, so. Sean, anything you want to add to this discussion on the MAAC?
I call them Canisius because they're like Canisius. So it's
Canisius. That's okay because
out of the group, I'm gonna have to go Fairfield. I mean, the Iona, it's not Patino's Iona. I want to fade Iona all the time, but I mean, Manhattan's a terrible club.
They are. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. In terms of that conference this year. The team that I've had an eye on and I think could be Hey, Quinnipiac, exactly. But I love all you guys. Learn a lot from you. We appreciate that, Chris. And it's okay if you love Sean more than us, because we love
There's more to
Sean.
me to love. I'm the biggest guy in the
Yeah,
show.
I like Ryder. Go ahead, Jess. What's
No, I was just going to say there's more of him to love. But Sean beat him to it.
Lauren Doran. Hey, Lauren, how are you? I like Ryder money line, Yale -6. Any thoughts? Again, Yale's been a really, really good team. Princeton got a lot of love, got a national ranking early on, got off to a tremendous start, but Yale has handled them and handled their business in the Ivy League and been pretty competitive outside of the Ivy League in their early non-conference schedule. Guys, any thoughts there?
I like the Ryder against Mount St. Mary's, and the Yale. I would more lean to the over, I think, there, but Ryder would be my favorite of the two.
Yep. So Mount St. Mary's and Ryder. I mean, again, I took a hard look and almost pulled the trigger on the over in that game, and I'm not going to get into the specifics of why I didn't, because every good chef keeps his recipes intact. Bahama Breeze, good job as always, gents. Thank you, Bahama Breeze. Appreciate you, man. Justin, how are you, my man? Okay, I found the live show. I figured it out. I think he's trying to say. Is that right, guys? You guys know these.
Something like that. Let's go. Let's
right.
go, Justin. Thanks for coming in.
All right.
And he loved his Queens play today. He likes Queens. I told him, I said, I can. I like Jacksonville in that spot.
Yeah.
Right, Jesse? Everybody loves Queens today.
You know, I don't know if this Justin cat gets all over the show and is commenting everywhere, or if there's a lot of guys that like Queens today, because I keep on seeing in comment sections everywhere, Queens. I don't know if it's just him or if something's
No, there was a couple Queens today in my show.
And I'm not really dialed in. I don't know. I'm not in the know why we should like Queens today, but I'd be happy to hear from Justin on why.
Yeah, let us know why you like Queens, Justin. It's a good point, Jesse. Queens
son
in a small university in North Carolina. Justin also tells us he hit the like button, and we appreciate that, Justin. For all of you out there, just a small token of your appreciation for the work, time, and effort we put into bringing you a quality podcast and always making you a smarter sports better today than you were yesterday. And you could do that by just simply hitting the like button, folks. It's free. And you know what? Why not try to make us happy? Because on a daily basis on this podcast, we're trying to make you happy by putting you in the winner's circle. Ninja, need to talk about come on, Ninja, please.
Well, that's also, remember, Ross, that was from a half hour ago when we're not talking about. So he's
but I mean this is a second comment, buddy. This is a second comment.
It was a second comment, but that was from 12 o'clock, 12:15.
Yeah, okay. All right. So Justin, looking into the Kentucky team total. Well, Jesse gave you a good reason why that could come into play or should come into play. So if you missed that, you could listen to the early portion of our show on our archive section at Gamblers World.
Is this
at Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel?
Is this Doug's burner account coming in?
I don't know. First time watcher, longtime fan of this crew. Kentucky plays.
Is it Indian Cowboy?
No, it wouldn't be Doug.
Tony George? Who is it? Was it Wade? Who's coming in here?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. We appreciate whoever it is. And it's a good analogy. Kentucky plays defense like a parked car. Yeah, that is a good analogy. UConn.
Smack City. They're going to roll Marquette. Yes.
Okay. All right. And fellas, Keith Landry, how you doing, Keith? Appreciate you coming aboard here, my man. Here's one for you, Sean.
They were all like, where are you going? I'm coming to the show. So I see a couple people came over.
Gotta love that name, man. That Perky Bump Sanderson, man.
Yeah, you got to read his comments.
Like one of the guys I used to
Ross.
drink with at the old tavern down the corner.
Fair warning. You got to read his comments before you post them up. You got to kind of scan down. He might have some crazy stuff.
Perky Bumps. He's my man.
He's
all right.
bumps.
Perky's coming in with another Marist money line. Easiest play on the board, big number, but easy moolah. Yeah, we don't lay those big money line favorite numbers. Again, Jesse stretches it a little more than we do, but that's beyond what even Jesse would do. So right, Jesse? That's a big number.
Yeah, no, I stretch it occasionally. Sometimes
Yeah.
I pay the price, but yeah.
No, it's not meant as any disrespect to you, but your parameter of how far you will go
Yeah,
is a little higher than me and Sean. And this one is out of, I would think,
but I mean, and it is calculated, and you can't
Yeah.
just get reckless and start laying, minus 250 and minus 300 and this and that.
yeah,
You'll pay the price if you
absolutely, literally.
play silly games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty sure I'm going to be on Kansas. Good luck with that, because Justin, until they prove to me that they could turn it around on the road, I disagree with you respectfully. He has turned this new NJ Devs team around the pit. Yeah, well, you
Lindy
know what?
Ruff,
Listen, Keith, I love Lindy Ruff. Okay. I loved him as a coach when he was in Buffalo. They've never been the same since they fired him. As a matter of fact, the last time they made the playoffs 13 years ago or so, Lindy Ruff was their coach. He got us to 2 conference finals. He got us to a Stanley Cup final. I'm all for Lindy Ruff. And, it was sort of just a joke that went around Western New York because of the dichotomies of his penalty minutes on the road as opposed to at home. But as far as a coach goes, especially a postseason coach, really love Lindy Ruff. And you're absolutely correct. He has turned them around, and the compass is pointed north with him in New Jersey. Hey, Mar, how you doing, man? Glad you could join us. Hey, guys, you were right, Ross. Can't go against Mahomes. Shanahan shot us in the foot with the overtime decision. I feel like we had control of the whole game, but winners win, and Mahomes is a winner. Any comments on that, guys?
Yes, let me take this one.
Sure.
I was flipping through YouTube today, and I saw an interview with Billy Walters. It was 7 days ago, so it was prior to the Super Bowl. And they asked Billy Walters to comment what he thought about the Super Bowl. And he broke it down, and he gave you his pick. And like I said, I just saw this morning, so I had no idea what Billy Walters said before I made my picks. And of course, I made my picks a week, 10 days before the Super Bowl. But his breakdown of how he thought the Super Bowl was going to go was like a mirror image of everything I said in my analysis. And for that reason, and for the reason that he's Billy Walters, I found it extremely insightful. And I recommend anybody who's interested in betting on football, look for that interview, Billy Walters, 7 days ago. Billy Walters doesn't do that many interviews, so it shouldn't be that hard to find. But it was very simplistic, nothing out of this world, but it all made plenty of sense. And I thought that was fantastic. So
yeah, arguably the sharpest sports betting mind of the last 5 decades or so, Billy Walters. And you know what? I'm pissed at myself, guys, because I keep saying I'm going to buy his book that just came out, and I haven't done so because I keep
the interview was promoting the book. It was it was an interview at a book promotion signing or something like that.
Yeah, and also Mark Lawrence had an interview with him a few weeks back as well, where they were promoting the book. If anybody would care to watch that, because not a lot of people watch this podcast to start with, but that might be worth it.
I met him in person at the South Point. I was there hanging out, and he walked into the interview with Brent Musburger.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Hey," I said, "I saw you at the Bet Bash." He goes, "Oh," he's like, "How was it?" But we chatted for 2 minutes. He goes, "Well," he goes, "I go, can I take a picture?" He goes, "Well, I'm a little sick. I don't want to get my germs on you." I said, "Please, anything you'd say to make me, you're not gonna get me sick. Maybe I'll learn something from you." I mean,
yeah. Sean will tell his grandkids he got sick, and it was by Billy Walters.
I'm like, who? Who's that guy?
Yeah. So, all right, Pounded Sports. Once KU gets healthy, they are a watch out team in the tournament. Well, getting healthy or not, they Pounded. They need to do something defensively drastically better than what they're doing now, because they'll have a problem with a good mid-major in the tournament playing defense. They will now, because usually mid-majors to come in into the tournament in Kentucky, I mean, what are they going to be right now? 5 or 6 seed at best, guys, you would project? I don't know.
They're Kentucky. They'll move Kansas to like a 4 seed. That's Kansas.
Oh, you're talking about Kansas.
Is it Kansas or Kentucky? I don't. Yeah,
Kentucky.
Kansas.
All right. Well, KU. I got a little pounded. Specify who you're referring to, Kansas or Kentucky. So Ninja. Yep, I got that over in Purdue, Minnesota, because Purdue's over here. All right. Thanks, Ninja, for that. North Ender, how you doing, North Ender? Glad you could join us today. Creighton laying -3.5 in Butler or at Butler. Whatever way you meant it. Guys, any thoughts?
I'll be looking at Butler.
It looks a little odd considering wasn't that the same price for Marquette? And is Creighton really? I mean, Creighton's close to Marquette, but I'm not sure they're quite there. And it was a big revenge spot for Marquette, and you don't really have that factor going.
And it's not like Butler got blown out in that game, Jesse. They lost by 6, and you were right on your prediction. But my point is that Butler's not a bad team, guys. They're
that's why I'm saying the line looks a little bit inflated.
Yeah,
I'm agreeing with North Ender there.
And Creighton, Sean, they're one of those teams that's hard to figure out. They could look like a top 10 team on occasion and then turn around and lose to an unranked team by a double-digit margin. Again, I'm being a little bit exaggerated when I say that, but your take on Creighton? Are you sold on this team? Is it legitimate?
I do like them, but in this spot, I'm not going to like them at this spot. At 3.5 on the road here. I mean, Butler's playing for a bubble spot. And Creighton's lost on the road at Providence, laying 2. They had a 1 point, 1 point favorite Xavier. I'll call him Xavier, Javier.
Arkansas.
The Seton Hall game, 97-94. I mean, close games. So in kind of close games, if they play close games on the road, I'm going to look to take points with a home underdog. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah. And Butler, if you look at their home court record, it's not what would typify a team that has a real strong home court, but I like their style of play. I think they're well coached. I mean, this is the same team that went on the road and beat Marquette, earlier this season. So, which isn't exactly the easiest place to play.
They beat Creighton 99-98 on the road this year, and they lost a close one to UConn the game after that by 9. I mean, they'll battle you. They're going to battle them.
Sean, this is not a relative of mine, even though he has the word old in his name tag. Old Bretto says, what are some of the most suspicious line movements you've seen today?
For today's action?
Today's action's sort of hard because it's a short card. If guys help me out here, because I don't have anything. I'll tell you what I did see, and I'm giving my pick away. I thought, when I looked at the San Diego State and New Mexico game, which I have up for sale right now at gamblersworld.net, it jumped out at me when I saw San Diego State as a 6.5 point favorite. I said they're begging you to take the underdog here. This is a San Diego State team that when they went to New Mexico earlier this year, they got blown out of the water by 18 points, gave up 88 points, and here they are laying 6.5 in the spot against a New Mexico team that's 20-5 on the year. I just thought that was a heavy line that they're trying to entice you into taking the underdog. Any thoughts, guys?
I like the total. I think I caught 153.5 on the overnight line, and you look at the defensive prowess of San Diego State. You look at the teams they've beat, how many points they've given up. They held Colorado State to 55 points, Utah State to 67 points. Nobody scored 70 points on this San Diego State team in their own building. So I just think if you like San Diego State, you have to like it to go under 153.5.
And any suspicious lines you see on today's card? I know it's short, Jesse. Anything that jumps out at you, even if you didn't play the game, that may have steered you away from playing the game because it was suspicious?
Well, I mean, this particular game I saw early lines of 4, and then it goes to. But I'm not calling it suspicious because I think the line's moving the right direction. I mean, I certainly lean towards San Diego State. I would have played them. It would have been a premium pick for me at 4. When it goes to 6, and I even commented on Sean's show last night, I think, I think Sean mentioned he liked San Diego State at 5 or something. I said, good luck with that. It's 6.5 and 7s now. And Sean was like, oh, no, so I was a little disappointed I didn't get in at a better price, but for that reason I pivoted and went with the under.
Other than that game we're just discussed, Sean, because we already know if you want.
I thought the VCU line coming down was a bit odd because I don't think St. Louis is a good team, and that dropped a full point 5.5 to 4.5 from last night to today.
It's a St. Louis team that's only won once in their last 7-8 games.
That's an interesting one there. So St. Louis again, a little off the. I mean, it's a short card you could kind of zone in, but there's not many crazy ones really move wise.
Tooch, how are you, buddy?
Likes the under to Tooch, man. I was going to say I like the under in this game as well.
Yeah,
Tooch.
Makes sense. VCU, very good defensive team. They play at a extremely slow pace, and St. Louis is far from an offensive juggernaut. So even with their defensive deficiencies, VCU doesn't figure to score in the mid 70s or so because, again, because of their style of play. Keith Landry, San Diego State -6.5 seems big, but we saw how they took care of business against Colorado State. Keith, I just told you again.
Just talked about
if you're watching this show, you don't have to buy my pick. I have San Diego State tonight, and 17-10 with my last 27 college basketball premium picks. We've been watching Coming to America.
You got to go to McDowell's for lunch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jesse's in Thailand. I don't know when he's coming to America, but we'll let you know, Keith.
But our buns aren't sesame seed buns. So that's
all right. I commented on your video about Queens.
Oh, on Jesse's video.
I did a free pick on the San Diego State game. And as I mentioned, I keep on seeing Queens in the comment section. And I was wondering if it was the same guy every time. And he's confirming that it was.
Yeah, there you go, Justin.
Justin's a good listener. He's a good guy.
Thanks for chiming in, buddy. We appreciate you, man. Pounded Sports, I know what you mean. Metro Conference is actually my favorite, most profitable. Iona over is because they don't play defense. Manhattan can actually score. It's not the 55 to 60 point team, Manhattan. Yeah, I agree with all of that, Pounded. Other than the fact that it's not my favorite conference, but if you're doing well with that, God bless you. Any comments, guys, you want to add to that?
I keep he's got me there because I'm like, oh man, Manhattan can't score, but they do. They're scoring 60, 70 points a game now, almost close to 70. So it's not a terrible Manhattan team. But
he's also saying Niagara's horrific first half team, always playing from behind. I agree with you again. And
you had the stats on them the first half to go against them. They were good.
Yep. Fun Manny. Hey, how you doing, buddy? We appreciate you, man, coming in. Any advice on what to look for? Money line winners, new to college basketball bets. Jesse, I'll let you answer this.
Yeah, well, I guess I got a reputation for playing a lot of college basketball games on the money line, and I've already touted the fact that you go back 10 years, I'm hitting 66% with my money line wagers in college basketball for 10 years. So that's pretty damn good. I'm definitely the guy to ask, and I guess the best advice is just to be disciplined. You don't go too high, but also don't be scared and get the best price. One of the biggest keys that a huge mistake that novices make is waking up at 10 a.m. Pacific time on the day of the game and checking your sports book. If you're doing that, forget about it. You're not going to win. You cannot win waking up on the day of the game and looking at the lines at 10 a.m. because all the action is already, you've missed out on so much already. You got to be looking at these games at noon Pacific when the opening lines come out the day before. You got to be making a judgment call on which direction the line movement's going to happen. The money lines often don't come out until around midnight or early in the morning, the day of the game. You have to react quickly. You have to get in, get out, get the best price. A lot of the games I play, I'm getting, minus 150. By the time it tips off, it's a 2-1 favorite. Clients complain sometimes, but if they've got a subscription, they will get that pick as soon as I place it, and they have the opportunity to get the same price if they're on the ball. And that is the thing that costs so many casual bettors money, is just not being on the ball, not being dedicated enough to get in early, get everything done early, and continue to monitor the markets.
No, that's why they should pay guys like us, because this is what we do.
They want to wait. There's no.
So
it's like what we said before. Don't think. There's nothing to think about. If you like the game on a Wednesday night, why are you waiting till 4:00 on a Thursday to bet it for the night?
Let's talk about Sean's show in the NFL season. He gives out the next week's picks on the Sunday. On Sunday night, he's giving out next week's picks. He's giving out free money. I think 2 years ago, Sean, or for 2022, you hit something like 60% or
the show it was better than my site picks. It was even better.
Yeah, it was huge, right? Just free money, right? And as much as that holds value, so many people just won't bet on next week's games a week in advance. They just won't do it. But that's what you got to do to make money. That's how you win in the NFL, is betting. You bet on next Sunday's games.
For a new person, they're so enamored with like the same game parlay and hitting some big 8-legger. Like, you're starting out, you have no bankroll. And this is not to knock people who are new to betting, but you don't have a huge bankroll. So you want to build that, get a better number. So all right, so you might not have your $25 for a week because you're betting a Thursday night game, get the early number. It's a slow build. You're not getting rich overnight doing this. So you have to start small, but the casual person, their brains aren't wired that way. They just see this Instagram, Twitter, TikTok world of stuff. You can't, that is not it. Like Jesse said, bet early. What, you're waiting for everybody. You're waiting for Lee Corso to put the helmet on Saturday to bet the game. So who does the panel have? That number is gone. The number's gone, and now you're in a coin flip. It's 50-50 for you to make money on that game because the best number's gone. It's always about the number.
I mentioned the wise guy contest that I won, and I'm not trying to blow my own horn here, but it's parallel to what these guys are talking about. We had to have our selections in by Tuesday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern time for the upcoming week's games, which most of the picks come on Saturday and Sunday in college football and the NFL. I went 23-13 for the contest. I went 13-5 with my best bets. You only give out 2 of them a week. And I can tell you that's not what I hit in the NFL for the season. So the perfect example of what these guys are talking about. Oftentimes you need to look for the sharp or the betting value early. And more times than not, if you do this for a living like us, you're going to be, I would say that 90% of the time, I would not have got the line I got that I put out on Tuesday just prior to the game going off, or even 24 hours in advance. And that's exactly the way these two guys specifically work. They look for, like Jesse just said, Sean's putting out games on Sunday night on his show in how well he did in that regard, which is, it's a talent in itself to do that well, putting out games that early. Pounded Sports, Quinnipiac has a stud last name. It's Tice. He should be playing Big 12 or SEC, absolute stud. Well, if he's an underclassman, he'll have his opportunity because that seems to be the norm these days. Really good mid-major players, especially a team like Quinnipiac that should win their conference, but it's no assurance. They need to win the conference tournament to get into the NCAA because they're not going to get an at-large bid, okay? So if they get in the NCAA tournament, he'll have his opportunity to really shine. But even having said that, Pound, that I agree with you, even if they just were an NIT team, this kid has shown his wares throughout the course of the year and dominating within his conference that somebody at the major college level is going to try to entice him to join.
So he was at Wolford last year, and now he's at Quinnipiac this year. The funny thing, as good as he is, 13 points, 7 boards a game, pretty solid. They got another guy averaging like 19 points a game on this team.
It's a good team. I'm telling you guys,
lineup.
Keep an eye on that team. If they would do win their conference tournament, they're probably going to be somewhere around a 12 to 13 seed. And they could surprise somebody.
You know what I like to see in a small team like this? I
Yep.
see like the rebounding. I like to see, it's tough to find like nobody has like 10, 11 rebounds. That's a rarity in college.
Yeah.
4, 6, 7, 6.9, 3, 4, 3, 4. I mean, the guy who plays 10 minutes gets 3 rebounds a game. Like that tells me you're defensive, you're good, you're glass, you're a hustle team. When you got, what was that? 3, 6, 7 guys with 3 or more rebounds, like you're crashing boards. That's how you go 19-5 and maybe steal the game in the first round of the tournament.
Sean, you want to take this one?
Oh, yeah. Oh, did you see that on Twitter, Jess?
I did not see it. No.
So this person on Twitter, and
Not the same guy that bets Purdue money line all the time.
Yeah, he's that guy.
That same guy?
A guy who won a back-to-back super contest.
Okay.
Who
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
on and complains you're not a real capper if a tout tells you to lay 115 or 120 instead of minus 110. That's bad, laying 115 instead of 105, which good luck even. I think it's a standard base. But he would say, this is a good bet. Minus 4,000. Yes. And again, the guy wins, right? It's not like he's some bum. The guy's pretty good. This kind of stuff, though, I just shake my head at. How do you say this? You guys, you know who this guy is. You guys both know.
Well, he's never going to live it down. The bet on Purdue.
Purdue in the NCAA tournament. Oh, this is easy money.
When they got knocked off as the number one seed.
The negative publicity alone for that bet makes it not worth whatever you were going to bet.
How do you have any credibility on anything you say going forward after that?
You lose a minus 4,000 bet, right? You put 4,000, win 100. Now you got to go 300-0 with some dogs to make that bet, right? I mean, what are we talking about here?
All right, folks, we got about 15 more minutes left in the show, so we're going to get to as many as you possible. If you have not participated, get in while you can.
You can't even spell my name right, Anthony? Jesus.
Yeah.
Put a block on that guy. That guy's got my phone number. I don't want to talk to him.
He's obviously not your good friend because he's the way he spelled your name. Oh, Bretto, what is the most suspicious line? We did already cover that.
We did that. I was in New Mexico.
I have two pages of Queen stats and why I'm big on them. Well, just fill us in on a couple, Justin. It's all. I mean, just you got 2 pages. Give us your 2 to 3 top reasons on why you like Queens.
Keith has us covered in the next comment.
Queens is 9-3 at home and 0-14 on the road.
Oosh.
Yeah,
0-14 on the road.
Lindy at home and Rough at home and Lindy on the road. Yes, that line is a little fishy.
That's a New Mexico game.
Yeah, North. Agree. The S is strong. All right. Ninja, watch when March Madness.
This guy he is the captain of the Purdue hate. He's the founder of the Vietnam Purdue hate club. We hate just come on in.
I'll tell you what. If he comes to visit me in Vietnam, I will give him as a gift a signed Purdue jersey.
And you know what, Ninja? Jesse could talk Vietnamese, so and that's no joke. So there you go.
Did you like King Katie?
St. Louis might be the fishiest today, in my opinion, but there's not much today. Maybe Penn. Penn's lost like 7 in a row, North Ender. You know what I mean? So I guess I don't know. I don't know if you're insinuating going against Penn, but I would not take. I wouldn't take any team, even as a home underdog, that's lost that many in a row. Then again, I'll tell you what was fishy the other night, boys, was Detroit 0-26 or whatever they were as a 5.5-point favorite, and they win and cover. So that to me,
I know a guy who bet against them.
Yeah, I had IUPUI.
Did you?
Money line.
You had money line on them?
I just could not.
Money line
that
dog,
had to be a spot. I just had to. I mean, as fishy was, I'm just going to take a money line on that for 2-1.
Yeah, flyer. It's a flyer. Yes, sir. Higgs. I'm not sure what he's.
Colorado's for tomorrow against USC.
Appreciate you all. We appreciate you, my man. Good show, guys. Thank you. Well, thank you, Pounder. We appreciate your insights too, as well. In my opinion, your insights are pretty good ones. So continue to contribute, and we appreciate you, and thank you for joining us today. All right. I think the problem with betting a week ahead is a lot of people watching these videos can't afford to have money tied up for a week. That was me at one time. Now, yeah, it's a good point, Justin.
Exactly, but that's the thing though. If you want to win, it takes a little time. It's not an overnight success, just right. You had to be like, maybe it started with a couple bucks and it grows.
And think about it. Justin's right. I mean, you got a lot of people, especially novice. They got only so much in their betting account, and they don't want to tie some of that money up for the weekend because
I
they
see
need
people
money
in
to
chats
bet during the week, huh?
I see people in chats when I'm doing a live show like, oh man, I got nothing in my account right now. I'm all tied up. Like, how do you have zero in your account? Like, number one, like again. I mean, I'm old school. I mean, I have an account just for futures that are win totals and stuff like that. Like the old days where you don't have to put up, all this money to have all your futures tied up. I get it. I understand it, but it's all right. We'll move
Keith,
on.
I looked at this play. I had it written down as a play, and then I saw there was 80% of the public and 80% of the money on this over, and that's what steered me away. But I mean, it all makes sense on paper. It's just that I got that steered me away. That's the sole reason. You'll never get me to bet on a game where 80% of the public and 80% of the money is on a specific side or a specific total, and that was the case here. But both of these teams, if you look at within the conference, I think they're 1 and 2 in terms of tempo, and they're right up there in offensive efficiency. And neither one of them cares much for defense either. So, guys,
I sort of like the dog, but I got nothing on a total in this one.
All right, Detroit Lenny. Let me tell you, folks, nobody circles the wagons like Detroit Lenny. Look at these three knuckleheads. Love it. Hey, buddy, how are you? By the way, Lenny, I forgot to call you yesterday. I am going to call you today. If you could take the call, fine. If not, I'll leave a message and you get back to me whenever you want. Always a pleasure, Lenny. Thank you for joining in. Well, Detroit Lenny is a host over at picksandparleys.net. He does a great job over there with the videos, and he's the head of the video department now. So congratulations to Detroit Lenny for that promotion. Keith Landry, Ninja 13 is a part of the Purdue Boilermakers. No, like Ninja 13, I don't know if he hates anybody, but he's definitely obsessed with going against Purdue. Yes, sir. I was on Detroit Mercy. All right. Sharp move on your part. It was worth the day off. Have a great weekend. Well, thank you, Lauren. We appreciate it. And we don't expect you to take every Friday off. So just know that you can go to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, and you could punch up a live show, and you can get the archives of all our live shows as well. So you don't have to lose money by watching the show. Then again, you could make money by watching the show as well. North Ender, it just gained a subscriber with that never being on the side with 80%. All right. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. All right. So we need to wrap it up, fellas. And we appreciate each and every one of you out there who chimed in today. A lot of good comments, guys. A lot of good comments, a lot of good questions. And I always love Ninja coming in on his obsession. When college basketball ends, Ninja, you got to work on finding
a baseball team. Find a baseball team. They play every day. They play sometimes 6 days a week.
Yeah. God forbid if Purdue wins a tournament, Ninja, we're going to just shut you off if that happens.
Anyway, hey, Pounded's blaming voice to text. He said, "Hey man, it's spelled UConn like the word like the truck instead of UConn." So that's
Keith says, "Give him hell tonight, fellas." Keith, thank you for chiming in today, buddy. We appreciate you, and good luck to you this weekend. And don't forget, all of you, you can find our premium paid selections at gamblersworld.net. It's there where we guarantee our selections. Any single game, multi-game daily package, or any subscription plan of 30 days or fewer. If you do not win, you do not make a profit, we will credit your account back the exact amount in which you paid for that specific purchase. So Sean and Jesse will be back with me on Tuesday for more college basketball action. We'll be discussing at this time. We're getting down the final stretch of the college basketball season. Exciting times. We're going to be covering a lot of March Madness stuff coming up. So make sure you join us. I'll be back Monday with Doug Upstone talking college basketball. We'll have the 2 primetime games on ESPN on Monday for you and some free picks there. Until the next time, for Sean Higgs, Jesse, the like button.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button, folks. Just a small token of your appreciation for the time, work, and effort we put into bringing you a quality podcast every day. And it will always be, it still is, and it will continue to be our theme as we want to make you a smarter sports better today than you were yesterday. Hit that like button. Until next time, for Sean Higgs, Jesse Schule, and yours truly, Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.